Vanity project.
It's a chart topper.
Vanity.
Midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis.
Oh, you whore!
Not midlife crisis. Midlife clarity.
They're arrogant.
Nice if you like.
Midlife clarity.
Menopause.
Oh, menopause?
Is it a vanity
Yeah,
project?
I'm losing my eggs.
It's a vanity project.
I stared into the abyss.
I'm losing my eggs.
A cash grab vanity project.
That little vanity project.
It's tremendous. I love it.
It's just a vanity project.
Hello, Ross.
Helen, how the hell are you?
I'm all right. I was rude to you the other day. We had a tiff. And so there was no podcast on Easter Monday.
But I think that's okay.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a public holiday. You know, people should be doing other things than downloading podcasts.
They should, but I believe that kind of palaver is automated. But we are not. Oh, no. AI wouldn't create something like this podcast. A very special guest today, an actually special guest, Ross. He may be sitting beside you, but I'm going to leave it a mystery.
Is this so? I have to work out who our special guest is.
Yes, precisely that. And coming up in Shit Show and Egypt, Ross went to see the 5-year-long director's cut of Napoleon. But now it's time for, well, take it away, Bitsy.
They're lifting weights between visits to doctors. Shit wellness books and hot stones engulf them. Multiple Fitbits are strapped to their skin. And they've also got a podcast.
Fit and trim, Ross. Fit and trim.
Mm-hmm.
Are you both?
I am both fit and trim,
Yeah.
Helen.
Look, I think at this juncture, I might introduce our very special guest.
I think that would be a good idea because I have no idea who it is.
It is Professor Dr. Gary Foley.
You can call me Doctor.
Okay, thank you. But you are, in fact, one of, is it 2 or 3 professors of Aboriginal history in Australia?
There's only 3 that the University of Melbourne's produced in its 170, 180 years of history. I'm number 2.
Yeah.
Tony Birch is number 1. Crystal McKinnon's number 3.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, it's a sort of record one would expect from an old colonial institution like the University of Melbourne.
Professor Gary Foley.
Or as I prefer to call it, the University of Melbourne.
You know, this is a very middle to lowbrow podcast, so we shall not be talking about your academic leanings, impressive as they are, winner of the university medal. Instead, I think we'll talk about health, as we do in this subject. Yours is shit, Gary.
A very relevant topic today.
Now, Ross,
Helen?
you know how you're a misogynist
Yes, I do.
and an ableist misogynist,
I am both of those things.
and I think maybe a racist.
I think that there's probably no doubt that there's a fair bit of that in there.
Yeah, well, you have a legally blind blonde woman here, blonde white woman.
Yep.
And today, we're the first to announce that Dr. Gary Foley is legally blind and black.
And
2 things that you previously may not have known about him.
indeed, and on schedule to be put in for a CNI dog.
Well, I can't go one of those dogs. I mean, see that lovely creature at your feet? Or
Indeed.
what you can. You can see like a white lumpy silhouette.
That's pretty much all he is.
Yeah. Hitchens von Poopensmith, the dog. This is is it fair to say a coddled dog?
Yeah, I would say that is a very coddled dog. I think that dog has never seen a moment of fear in his life, which you can tell by the fact that he will just go up to anybody and show them his tummy. Like, not a moment in his life has he felt anything remotely even disconcerting. Just like me, really.
Yeah. I don't suppose I could entreat you to share your song with Gary Foley, the song that you sing to, just a little bit of the song that you sing to Buddy, Buddy, Buddy. Come on.
So hang on a second. So you're going to basically bring in Dr. Gary Foley and ask me to sing him a song, which we all know is terrible.
Fuck it. People people are always talking to him about,
Sure, no problems.
Oh, thank you for starting the Aboriginal Legal Service. Thank you for the green bans.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Thank you for changing my fucking life.
Well, I've got two songs. So you've heard one of them. The other one is Buddy, 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 he's really sweet. Buddy, 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 he's made of
meat.
Buddy, 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 he's got 4 feet. Buddy, 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 and he poops in the street.
That's really very lovely. And you currently have a, Gary, do you still have your bull mastiff?
No, she died.
I'm so sorry.
I've got a Doberman nowadays.
Yeah, so you go for the small dogs.
A Doberman called Jarly, which is a Gumbaynja word, and despite the fact that I'm a Gumbaynja man, I don't know what Jarly means. You'd have to ask my daughter.
It's probably something obscene.
Quite possibly, but
your dogs are coddled. They are undisciplined, spoilt dogs also, yes?
Well, that's the way dogs ought to be, I mean, dogs deserve a lot better than the human company they usually got.
That's why you can't go, and that's why I can't go a seeing eye dog. You can't be nice to them, can you, Ross?
No, you're not meant to be nice to them. I mean, you're meant to be nice to them, but you're not meant to. They're not a companion dog. So
No.
I know somebody who decided that they would be a perfect candidate for kind of training or homing a seeing eye dog.
Yeah.
So they need people to look after them from pup, right,
Yeah.
for a certain amount of time. And yeah, my friend ruined that dog.
Yeah.
And that it couldn't be a seeing eye dog anymore.
No, there are very few people capable of bringing the seeing eye dogs to maturity because they're so cute.
I mean, I think the problem for a seeing eye dog with me is that just as the dog is getting used to me, I'm likely to cark it.
You told
Drop
us not
dead.
to talk about death.
Well, it inevitably intrudes these days whenever I have a conversation with anybody on earth.
Yeah, including me. I say, how are you guys? What have you been up to? How did the Marxism conference go? I'm dying.
Yeah.
Better do the podcast because I could be dead.
Better get in quick.
Indeed, I mean...
You bring it up.
It could well, this podcast could well be worth lots and lots of money in the near future if I drop dead in the next 2 days.
As long as you don't drop dead in the next 45 minutes, because
Right.
that would be of concern.
That would really tamper with both of our schedules as well. You're listening to Vanity Project. Our special guest is Dr. Gary Foley. Now, would you have any health concerns to talk about, Ross?
Oh, absolutely not. I am tickety-boo.
How's the personal trainer you're fresh from?
I am fresh from the personal trainer today. He is fresh from being on Britain's Got Talent, so he is very pleased with himself. He, as I've told you before, I won't say his age, but it's getting close to starting with a 6, and he just bought himself a rather preposterous motorcycle, so I reckon he's doing all right.
Bless. Ross has a all-singing, all-dancing weight trainer.
I see.
Yeah, as you can tell, he's not doing much for this bod, though.
Right.
Gary, however, continues to ride his electrical bicycle, perhaps unlawfully at this juncture, because as part of Fit and Trim, and Gary, would you say you're in midlife?
I'd say that I'm close to the end of life.
Yeah, I mean, especially for Aboriginal people, midlife's about, 25, really, isn't it?
When I turned 50, the average life expectancy for an Aboriginal man was 51 years. Now that I'm about to turn 75, the life expectancy for an Aboriginal man is 71. So I've sort of cheated it for 4 years or something, I think, So I'm doing all right. I mean,
but
the simple truth is that 99% of Aboriginal men my age today are dead. Most of my friends, who I was associates with 50 years ago, they died in their 40s and 50s.
I think it's 1/3 of Aboriginal men are dead by 50, despite the fact that the average is increasing. We don't speak of averages. That's what economists do. Oh, political, Helen. Anyway, so today you found out that you're legally blind. So solidarity, comrade.
Indeed.
I'm not a good ear for you to complain at, and I'm sorry about was it the dry macula or the wet macula?
The dry, the incurable, untreatable version.
Yeah. Have you heard of this, Ross? The wet one is the one where it can actually be meaningfully delayed and managed, but you have to have an injection in your eyeball.
That's why I'm glad I got the other version that's untreatable. I mean, I mean, my brother's got the version that you get a needle in the eye, and I said to him, I couldn't stand that. And he said to me, "Oh, but it doesn't hurt." I said, "I don't care if it's hurt or not. Just seeing the needle coming at your eye, it's not as though you can look away or close your eye, you know." And he said, "Oh, but it doesn't hurt." I said, "I don't want to know. Don't tell me."
No, not for me. I don't know if I've told you this. I recently decided that my night driving wasn't great because I've got astigmatism. So which is great. It makes every car tail light look like a demon. It's fantastic. So I went to get checked to see if I could get contacts. And I got one half in, and I had to actually get the optometrist to come and take it out because I was just no.
Yeah.
Because I've got these tiny little slitty eyes, and then the contact lenses are the size for normal people's eyes, and they just don't work for me. It was horrible.
They're not for everybody, and I too suffer from anyone going anywhere near my eyes, unless of course I'm being offered a blepharoplasty on Medicare, in which case that's absolutely fine. I look years younger, at least I do, because I too am lawfully clinically blind. Now,
may I ask a question about lawful and clinical blindness? Who tells you? Like, does somebody turn up one day, knock at the door, say, "Surprise, you can't drive a car anymore"? Like, what happens?
No, I was seeing my ophthalmologist this morning, and they've got this scanning device where they scan your eyes and they show you the extent of your macular degeneration. And it's all highly technical, completely meaningless to me, except that I know that what they're telling me is that I can't see. You know?
As a veteran of ophthalmology and ophthalmological surgeons, I've been seeing them since I was, or not seeing them in silhouette form since I was 3 months old. I can tell you with some certitude that there is no certitude at all about what constitutes legal blindness.
Okay.
Years ago, I went to Vision Australia. What a fucking useless organisation.
I'll agree with that.
They're terrible.
We're going to agree with something.
We've got to go. We've got to go and just make them do things. All they essentially do, and I've tried to use the service several times in the last decade, is sell you expensive magnifying sheets.
And sell you keyboards, supposedly for almost blind people, that stop working after you hit 2 keys on the damn thing, you know? I had to throw it out almost immediately. I mean, they're pretty useless.
Yeah, they're not a good organisation like a lot of NGOs. Hey, have you guys, you know Arundhati Roy? Arundhati Roy wrote a book called The God of Small Things, and she's best known for that. Now, I don't read novels. I consider them unhealthy. You know what I mean, though?
They're frivolous. You've got other things to do.
But they're fucking ridiculous.
That's all made up.
Absolutely. What's the point?
No, I hear you.
But she's also quite a radical writer, and she wrote an essay a few years back called The NGOization of Activism.
Okay.
Have either of you guys read that?
I haven't.
Tell me to do some show notes, Ross. I've got to get my finger out and do something with my life, because it is a genuinely marvellous essay, and it speaks very much to, organisations like Vision Australia that basically exist as part of the neoliberal machinery, acquire the same funding. You see the same people rotating around.
And I assume adopt the same kind of structural model as a business.
Yes, very often they have boards.
Yeah, and so they have, and at a certain point they have an internal model to protect. So, the purpose of an organisation is what it does, and so they just keep doing that thing. Yeah,
you ring them up and they'll do just that whole arse-covering liability stuff. We can't help you with that. We can't help you with that. And then what happens is that they concretise and they actually don't want to fix the problems that they were initiated for.
Heaven forbid, then they'd be
out of business.
No need to exist. Yeah.
And so what you see a lot of the time, and you still go, if you go to rallies and what have you. Gary doesn't so much go to rallies as he speaks at them.
I am the rally.
I tell you what, I mean, second ever protest was, you've not been a protester much, have you?
Look at me. Is there anything about this goes to protests often?
Well, I think 6'5" is not a good height for a protest. You probably get punched.
People think you're a copper.
Exactly.
That's right, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've never been mistaken for a copper, but the Palestine rally, I'm so happy to see the solidarity. I'm overjoyed to see that people wearing a Keffiyeh again, because we used to wear the Keffiyeh in the 80s because Yasser, the PLO, said so. You see all these white people now and they're getting their heads around like cultural appropriation. It's okay. Have you noticed that, Gary?
I think that one of the best situations that I've seen recently was when I went to a graduation ceremony at the University of Melbourne, and one of the academics there, who's renowned for criticising Aboriginal people who support the Palestinians, presided over a graduation ceremony for all of these Indigenous graduates, at least 3 of whom were wearing the
Keffiyeh.
yeah, which had to have been excruciatingly embarrassing for that particular person because she was unable to do anything about it.
Was she the same woman that once derided you for not having a university degree?
No, that was the then head of the history department, but we won't go there.
No, we won't, because then you'll make me edit it out. And you won't let me release it for another 4 weeks. But anyway, oh, sorry, what was I getting at? Anyway, Arundhati Roy,
Yes.
I highly recommend the NGOization of activism.
I can't see to read it, but in terms of what you were saying before that about not reading novels, I'd like to put it to you that a novel worth reading is Alexis Wright's novel about North Queensland. It's got the most magnificent knife job of the Cape York cane toad that I've ever read.
You wouldn't be talking about Handsome Noel, would you?
Oh, well, if people want to call him that, they can call him that. But I call him the Cape York cane toad.
Indeed you do. Okay, so seeing eye dog, you'll wreck it, but you'll have another dog. That'll be nice. I was saying earlier that sight is miraculous and overwhelming if one thinks about it for too long. Lots of things can go wrong with one's vision, and there's not a standard platinum eyeball in Paris against which all other eyeballs are mentioned.
Oh, okay. I'm always kind of angry about eyes and ears because they're constantly needing peripheral upgrades. It's like buying a computer and then you need to upgrade it. You don't get to have it for a long time. Like you buy some glasses and you have them for a while, and then no, you can't have those glasses anymore. You have to get these ones now. It's like I don't want to be on an upgrade cycle for being able to see.
Oh, they get ya.
They do.
They get ya under capitalism. It's just like printer ink and coffee capsules. That's what it's like. So, it depends. The shape of your eyeball changes, and then that's the most common form of long or short-sightedness. But
they should have cheap replaceable eyes and ears, So you wear them out, get a new set.
I would wreck replaceable eyes and ears. I would just be looking straight into the sun all the time.
Oh, shit, yeah. Yeah. I would be
Seriously,
going...
it'd be like a rental car. I would just fuck them up.
The ears, I would go to Bush Doofs and I would go and see Metallica. That would be wonderful. But sadly, the age of transhumanism is not upon us. But about 10 years ago, when Vision Australia were responsible for deciding whether or not one got free public transport, which significantly vision impaired people in the state of Victoria can get. And you better believe I've got my free Mikey card. Oh, God, it's awesome. I chucked somebody off the disabled seat the other day.
Oh, how did that feel?
Fucking great.
Yeah.
They were young.
Yeah, but you still get it's great. When I was situationally disabled, like after I had the burn and I kind of couldn't, like in a crowded tram, I couldn't stand because I couldn't hold anything, right? I had no hands. Oh, I was kicking people out of seats left and right, and it felt good.
It really does.
Yep. And they're just frowning at them, just standing there and frowning.
No, fuck being selfless. And so Vision Australia used to be responsible for that. You now have to go to the PT Hub, my fellow blind Victorians. And it was just an eye chart. This is a very narrow gauge of how much one can see because things like light, movement, irritation to the occipital nerve, all of these things are not tested. I've gone on for long enough, but I did want to mention that I believe that you were pronounced legally blind by an ophthalmologist at the Aboriginal Health Centre in Fitzroy. And, well, this is a message from my new flatmate. I have a flatmate. Very nice lass. She's a doofer, millennial. But she just wanted to say congratulations and good work for essentially starting the Aboriginal health and legal services. First ones were in Redfern, weren't they?
Indeed, but at the beginning of the Redfern Aboriginal Medical Service, the way we got it up and running in the first instance was with the invaluable help of a lunatic, mountain-climbin, pipe-smokin, communist eye doctor from New Zealand called Fred Hollows.
Yeah.
Some people, old people listening in might remember who he was.
The foundation still exists.
The ads are still on TV.
Yeah.
Fred told me 50 years ago that I had super sight, which I did. And here I am 50 years later, blind.
But
gone.
on the upside, you did see Sputnik with your own eyes.
I saw
You saw
and
Sputnik.
heard. Yes,
I
did see.
believe it. I've never thought of that.
That's true.
Well,
It's
I mean,
very true. Fond memories of seeing it. I was living in Tenterfield at the time. I was about 12 or 13 or something like that, and I looked up in the sky and this thing was moving across the sky. In fact, not only that, probably a bigger event in Tenterfield that year was the arrival of the first neon sign in the town. I'm talking about a little country town. And the sign...
This is 57, so you were 7.
The sign simply said, Telegraph Hotel, flashing on and off like that. And the entire town turned out for a week, standing in the street watching this magnificent, amazing new thing called a neon sign, you know.
You're listening to the desultory rubbish that is Vanity Project. My name is Helen Razor. He is Ross Float. And this is Doctor, Professor and swinging sex god Sputnik witness Gary
And
Foley.
neighbour of Peter Allen.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if there was a Peter Allen connection because there has to be in Tenterfield.
And, you know, don't forget Tenterfield's where our nation was born. It was where Sir Henry Parkes made his famous Federation speech. When they needed to create a last bastion for white supremacy in this part of the world, and so they federated, and Australia set up the White Australia policy. And, you know, when I was 15 years old, the White Australia policy meant that all the kids in my school except me were white.
Yeah, they're trying to breed out the black.
Anglos, yes.
It's, you know, the family planning, whatever it's called now, centre, you know, where kids go and get condoms and whatnot.
Yep.
Were you familiar when you were a youth?
When I was a youth, yeah. I mean, I went to a private school. We had people come to our school and give us condoms and ask us which ones we thought would be more comfortable. It was a very different experience.
Yeah. And they told you all about consent, I'm sure. She's a woman.
Oh.
It's yes. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Do you know the original name?
No, I do not.
The Racial Hygiene Association of New South Wales.
It's a eugenics mob.
Yeah, I mean, eugenics was huge in Australia as it was around the world in the 1930s.
Absolutely.
You can see it in the photographs of Max Dupain, you know. Of course you know that stuff because you're a vision person. Must be nice. But yeah, I mean that's the legacy of a lot of feminism. That's where sort of abortion activism was. I don't want to say birthed, but I have to now because that's the verb that came out.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the assimilationist genocidal policies against Aboriginal people evolved out of the whole idea of eugenics. You know.
Still though, Tenterfield Sadler.
He was good once he came out.
Nothing worse than a closeted homosexual musical writer.
Well, especially from Tenterfield. I mean, the poor fellow, you know.
Yeah, can't have been good.
Did you coincide with him at all? He's older.
He left town before. I think I would have been about 4 or 5 or something when he was living there. But his family lived round the corner from us. So it was a small town.
Yeah, and I mean, foundation of the White Australia policy and what have you, but your experience of growing up in Tenterfield is one where racism wasn't the salient feature of your life that it later became.
Well, the Tenterfield Picture Theatre, which had that fantastic Art Deco front, was the only picture theatre in that part of New South Wales at the time, in the 50s, that was not segregated.
It's interesting how before the sort of the real dawn of mass culture, some people just sort of didn't learn racism.
Indeed. Had I not spent my childhood in Tenterfield, I reckon things would have been a lot different for me in the long term. I reckon I'd have been dead a long time ago.
Okay, death and racism, on we go.
Oh, we're really jolly today.
Fucking liven it up, Foley. Jesus Christ. I'm not talking about the green bands and
He's
the BLF
dead too.
now.
Jesus Christ, he's dead too. So.
You're a professor of history.
I was particularly irritated that...
You know that.
I was particularly irritated yesterday that AM spent the entire program talking about some dead pope over in Italy somewhere, which really pissed me off. Why are we wasting our time worrying about dead
How
Catholics?
dare you talk about the Vicar of Rome like that? You know my faith is important.
Come back,
to me.
Helen, come back.
Sorry. I think it's time for a little cultural diversion. Oh, my goodness. Thank you to Justine and Fred Nurk and those others who have actually emailed. Every time I get a lovely email at beautifulfairyprincess at vanityproject.skin, I pass it on to Ross. Mm-hmm. And thank you. You've been very flattering.
People have been very nice.
Yes, and you keep accusing me of having written them.
No,
or you ask me, who's that? Is that a mate of yours or a relative? People listen to this fucking podcast because it's not that it's a good podcast. It's just, have you listened to other podcasts? They are uniformly dreadful.
They are terrible. I only listen to podcasts on extraordinarily long drives. That's when I listen to them.
Yeah, and not even this one.
When I drive up to the Mallee and back and I'm without radio reception for a long time, that's when I listen to me podcasts and me audiobooks.
Hey, Bitsy, it's culture time. It's criticism time. Hit it.
Shit. All of these new things are shit. Shit show in Egypt know it. Their taste's impeccable. Always believe them.
So, Ross.
Rose?
You went and saw a film, as is your wont.
No, it was brought into my home. It was streamed to me. So I think it was in 2024, Ridley Scott produced a biopic of Napoleon, which was funded by Apple. And I originally went to see that at the IMAX. I spent the money, saw it on the big screen. I thought it was a tremendously funny film, but it got panned by a lot of people, largely because it's very confusing. And people, I think these days, we're so accustomed to looking into subtext that we don't know how to approach something that has no subtext. It's literally a story about there was this guy called Napoleon. He did a bunch of stuff, and then eventually they exiled him, and then he died.
That's true. That's true. That thing about the subtext, you're completely correct.
People are like, what's this about? And I was like, it's literally about Napoleon. Like that's all it's about. It doesn't pretend to be anything else.
Because, I mean, a lot of Netflix dramas and what have you, the subtext is so ham-fisted. It's like, this is about sexism.
That's right.
And so it's not as though it's buried it requires a great deal of critical analysis. Have you seen that fucking baby reindeer? That's a pile of shit.
Yeah, I mean, look at something.
I hope that woman sues him.
She has. There's something like White Lotus. It's like, so you're telling me that rich people are bad and have bad foibles and are incapable of change. Okay, I get it. I don't need 10 episodes for that.
White Lotus is a show that you must not watch with your impaired vision, Gary. It is absolutely terrible. It's written by one of my least favourite screenwriters called Mike White, who's responsible for School of Rock, which is good until it comes to what he does to Sarah Silverman in that show. Also another one called Enlightened, where he makes a mockery of Laura Dern. Now, this is about rich white people who go on holidays to wellness retreats in the global south. And it's very tab A into fold B, isn't it? It's like,
they have foibles. Those foibles come back to get them. They don't change. Nobody learns anything. That's kind of
Except a whole lot of white people like it because it's like, oh, look at us, we're racist, aren't we dreadful? I feel shriven by watching this show. Oh God, cleanse me of racism. Gary, I don't know if you ever think about racism, as a topic.
Not a lot, but keep going.
So these millennials. And they put up their black squares on Instagram and whatnot. I'm talking about the white ones, right?
I'm not on Instagram or any of these things that these young people are on.
You meet people, don't you? And you're on Facebook every other second. You just check
They meet me. I don't meet them.
But it just so you know Scientology, right?
I think you're sometimes pretty harsh on these poor young people. You know,
But they're tedious. They're tedious, and they talk to me too.
Not
Now I'm
all of
older.
them.
They ask me for reading material, and it's fuck off. You know, I don't care. Just
They ask me for reading material, but I've had a reading list for 20 years. I just say, go and look at that, piss them off, and they go away and they either read it or they don't. It doesn't makes no difference to me.
okay. So you know Scientology. You guys know Scientology,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay. So there's
I've always wanted to join Sea Org.
yes, and work for no money.
Uh-huh.
And be abused by one of your betters.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would pay good money for that.
People pay a lot of money for that.
But I have a little...
It's called tithing.
Yes, I have a little trouble with Zenu. It's tithing or being sexually submissive
Mm-hmm.
or both. Lovely.
What about Scientology?
Well, when you go, have you ever experimentally perhaps had some THC oil and you've been approached by a eerily clean-cut gentleman and he says, would you like a personality test? And
No,
you
he-
go and take it?
No, only clean-cut people who ever approached me have got little name tags on. They're Mormons. There's a lot of Mormons down around where I live.
Oh, that's fun.
There's a Mormon church down there.
No, I look, I wish there were more, you know, invite them in, get them to tell you about the golden tablets.
Get them stoned.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's super fun. I haven't done that for years.
So I'm not allowed to put the Mormons away from the door here because Erin has a soft spot for them from where she grew up. And she got a lot
really?
of Mormon friends. Oh, yeah.
She grew up in Salt Lake City or something.
No, but there's a lot of Mormons in the Central Valley of California, which is where she's from.
Right.
And she's like, oh, you know, basically they just get sent off wherever to just go and try and proselytize the people
Yeah.
who just don't want it.
Yeah.
And don't come home for a year, kids.
Yeah, in the inner north of Melbourne, it's atheism central. You've got to give them something.
The poor kids who were coming up and down this street, I was like, oh, you got a
that-
bad lot.
That big Mormon church down in Westgarth Street,
Yeah.
when I lived next door to it, every Sunday, these armies of Pacific Islanders, who are the predominant people in that particular congregation, turn up in these tiny little cars, and they're all very big people. I'm not being racist saying that. And
Yes,
it
you
always
are.
it always intrigued me that all of these black people and coloured people mad on Mormonism, because at the time they weren't allowed to become ministers in that religion, you know?
Well, so what now? There's the appeal of new authority within particular institutions.
I'm not up to the latest in the Mormon church, but I think somebody's had a message from heaven changing that little rule when it got too embarrassing for them. Like most of these religions that, you know, it gets too embarrassing or something, then just get a message from God and everything's fixed.
Although,
Deliver a software update, then
Yeah.
the religion
Yeah.
is fixed.
although I've got to say, he with the capital H has not had that word to the Catholic Church. In Scientology, you are trying to rid yourself of something called thetans, and this is called going clear. You rid yourself.
It costs you millions of bucks.
Indeed, it does. But they have these e-meters. You remember my
Yeah,
dead
I know.
ex-wife, Susan?
Yes,
She
yes.
was mad on all that stuff. I got her an e-meter for her birthday once, and I just noticed with the young kids, it's like that. It's sort of like the most important thing for them is to. I think that it's an impossible aim, but they're sort of trying to go clear, like the woke young people with the racism as well. It's like, I need the racism taken out of me. A worthy sort of thing to do, but it's like it's not as important as action, surely, is my question.
I think to be fair to the younger generation,
Why?
they are facing a really horrific future. And I don't envy them at all. Anything they can try and do to stay sane into what's coming for them, it's up to them. I mean, they're the ones who are going to have to live through all the shit that's coming. I don't. I'll be dead, so it don't matter to me.
Pace it up, Sparky. So Napoleon.
Yeah, so just getting back to
Oh,
Napoleon.
Napoleon, yes.
So I got home yesterday and turned on the TV because, you know, I'm a person who just sits here and has a special look on my face when I get home and turn on the TV. And it said that there was a new version, 48 minutes longer. And I thought, fantastic. It was already almost 3 hours, so I got nothing to do. And it made it a substantially better film.
Yeah.
It had a few more comedic moments in it. Like I've told you about the one where...
There's a treatise on cunnilingus, I believe.
Yeah, there is a long treatise on... Well, it's not really a treatise on cunnilingus, but Napoleon wants to know from somebody who he calls a master coxman whether engaging in cunnilingus might give him a greater chance of having sons. So he summons, I think, a young captain from the battlefield who has had 3 sons and basically deposes him about, how come you got 3 sons and I don't? Is it all about the growlers?
I think that there might be a slight scientific basis to that particular curiosity of Napoleon's as depicted by Ridley Scott, because I think, I've done my time as a Seppo lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And
how was it?
Look, honestly, women are hard work. I pity you blokes. We're not a picnic. We require a lot of attention. And when it's cycling, woman to woman, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. Fuck me.
Oh.
Well, it was...
it must be like owning 2 MGs. Just...
yeah, or Jaguars. Yeah. Problematic cars, and you're one of them. It was difficult. I mean, one of the girls in the household, one of the women in the household, she had an eating disorder because that was sort of like part of the bulimia. We all had it at some point. It's catching. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we would not permit male plumbers into the house. So we were faced with toilet problems often.
Uh-huh.
So that wasn't good. I eventually got chucked out for having sex with high school boyfriend.
Okay.
And this is many years ago, but they used to leave reading material around about, turkey basters and what have you. Mm-hmm. You didn't have your fancy IVF in those days, no. No, had to do it the old-fashioned way, into a cup and then a turkey baster. And the acidity
That's how Elon Musk does it to this day.
He's more off his head than Ridley Scott.
Oh, absolutely.
He's just, I have to say, I'm sure he's doing horrible things. I don't read the news.
We've reached the pits now.
But I mean, it's
sorry, we'll elevate the tone.
Sorry. So the acidity or alkalinity of the vagina can influence the biological sex of the child.
Thinking about things that might change the acidity or other biological content of the vagina, I would like to hear Gary talk about the video that we just watched.
Oh, yes.
Because I reckon that might have caused some movement.
Which one?
Oh, Jeff Beck.
Oh, Jeff Beck and...
the bloke from ZZ Top.
Billy Gibbons and Jeff Beck playing an old Tennessee Ernie Ford song, 16 Tons.
Good song.
With Tennessee Ernie Ford in the background on the screen, keeping up with it,
Yep.
Deadly, as we say where I come from.
You watched this just before, and I went in with a modicum of skepticism, but it was really very good.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
As you've said to me before, as you've advised, friend and comrade Ross, are we friends again after our tiff?
Yeah.
Do you love me?
Yeah.
All right. I can't remember what you were saying.
Well, what I had advised.
There's nothing wrong with dumb rock and roll.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with dumb rock and roll.
Fucking love dumb fucking rock and roll.
As long as it's good.
Gonna find out you're a Skinner fan.
I'd like to slip something in here.
Yeah.
Actress
I
Bishop?
mentioned early in this podcast Alexis Wright's latest book. Mm-hmm. The only way I'm able to read that is I'm listening to the audio version, which is read by Jackie Katona.
Yeah.
Which is a cherry on top bonus for the story, because Jackie's been one of my closest political associates for the last 40 years.
We're big fans of audiobooks.
Oh, that's all that's the only way I can consume books anymore.
It's much nicer.
And I'm happy to take recommendations from you anytime, Helen,
You
in
are
terms
not.
of
You'll
audiobooks.
tell me that it's shit.
Well, that's, that's occupational hazard.
Speaking of books,
yeah.
He and I know each other. I was working for Time Out magazine, and I was supposed to speak to celebrities about cafes. A girl's got to eat.
Yep.
So I asked Gary Foley, and since that time, I've been writing his biography, but he won't let me.
Many people have wanted to.
Yeah, but you said I could.
I've said that to many people.
Fuck you. So I got to stop saying I'm Gary Foley's biographer. Gary, would you come and join us again here on Vanity Project? If you're not dead.
Yes, I'm happy to come back anytime.
All right. Well, you're just around the corner. I would like to deliver some very sobering news, though.
Go on.
Excuse me if I've done this before, Ross, but it's terrible news. You and I have spoken about things that should be true but aren't.
Yeah,
Apocryphal quotes on the internet, for example.
and you and I have a very different approach to this, which is that if I find out something that I would like to be true, I don't destroy it with research. I'll just let that just sit there for a while.
Such as the Japanese term
Yeah, that's
for I want a snack.
Well, yes, I've been told that the desire to snack, the translation for that, the Japanese phrase is, my mouth is lonely.
So
Now,
nice.
now I don't want to find out if that is true or not, but sometimes I understand the feeling that sometimes my mouth is lonely.
Yeah. Lennon quotes. There's some really good ones on the internet that he didn't say. Unlike the Albert Einstein quotes, which are all shit that he didn't say. I mean, Albert Einstein never fucking would say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, because isn't that, after all, scientific method?
Also, he's a mathematician, so he wouldn't be doing that work.
No. Yeah, very apocryphal, but Lennon's got some great quotes that he never said. Sometimes for decades nothing happens. Sometimes decades happen in weeks.
That's right.
A bayonet is a weapon with a worker at both ends. But I was led to believe for many years that the transliteration from Mandarin into English of the word for penguin was business goose. Which is the cutest fucking thing ever.
See, but the thing is,
It's not!
But you can just now assimilate. It is for you. You can just keep that in your heart. It doesn't hurt anybody for you to think of them as business geese.
They are business geese.
They're absolutely business geese.
But, they're not birds, are they? Are they birds?
What?
Are they birds? Penguins.
Of course they are.
Are they mammals? I know they have eggs. Whatever they are, they're fucking cute.
They're well known as flightless birds.
Oh, they are. That's right. Yeah, I've never been very good with my tree of life. But, Gary, you and I think, share a favourite bird. That is Corvid coronodes, the Australian raven, or in Kulin Nation languages, wah.
Oh, in my language, blackbird.
The Australian raven, a very fine bird. Big fucking hackles. Now, I know you're fond of this bird.
I like anything that's black.
He's like blacker than an
Black-
Elvis
they're
Presley
very
velvet
black.
painting.
Yeah,
So black. And he's smart. He can count to 6.
incredibly smart.
Yeah.
They're very, very, very intelligent birds.
Yeah.
Smarter than most people, in fact.
I'm an intelligent bird. Hey? 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 Hey?
Oi, oi.
Hey? Ross, I don't think you really get a word in edgewise, which is so unusual.
That's fun. I'm quite enjoying this dynamic. It's very good.
He hates me. I don't know why he keeps calling me up. I'm dying. Shut up.
I don't know why
Your
she thinks
taste in
that I hate
country
her.
music is awful.
The other one I've been watching lately is Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard.
Oh,
It's
wow.
all going to pot. And you got Merle Haggard there smoking dope in the studio with Willie Nelson, you know. It's just perfect. The man who wrote We Don't Smoke Marijuana in Muskogee, there is puffing up just before he died.
Sexy
Great
old
stuff.
bastard, Willie. Do you know what I mean there?
Yeah,
Right.
because he aged into being a sexy old bastard at about the age of 34. He's looked a million since he was 6.
And
Yeah.
like he sings, roll me up and smoke me when I die.
See, Gary doesn't understand this, right?
What's that?
Because you said you didn't, I mean, you got pulling power. Not that you would exercise it.
Sure.
But you turned around at about 38.
Oh,
Suddenly,
yeah, late 30s. So I kind of always looked like a 38-year-old man, and then one day I became a 30-year-old man, and that became something that people paid attention to, but not when I was 20.
I mean, he's still like quite pretty. But have you seen
He's a handsome rooster.
pictures of this one?
Yes.
Oh my Christ! He looks like it's a Che Guevara's been perfected. He could sell jeans.
It was a curse.
Oh,
I bet it still is.
is it? I mean, you're still a good-looking bloke.
Gary, I understand the curse.
No, no,
What do you mean it's a curse?
I'm happy that I've lost all that hair. I've gone white. I got a white beard. I look too old to
My beard's whiter than yours.
for people to be chasing anymore.
I've always
so-
had white hair. What are you complaining about?
Yeah, but
But what was a curse about being that obscenity of perfected sexiness?
it's just a pain in the ass. people wanted to take advantage of one.
Do you know? Yeah, sure, Gary. All right. You want to say anything uplifting about death?
To be honest with you, I really can't remember much of my life before I turned 40. It's sort of a long time ago, but I'm told, or so I read, that apparently we did a lot of good stuff in our early days when we were young and crazy. But it was only because we were young and crazy we got away with a lot of the stuff that we did.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think you maintain some of that insanity. I know Ross does. It's one of the reasons we get along. There is some mental defect that some of us have where you see no reason to accept the answer no. It just sounds ridiculous.
That's why I think you're a bit harsh sometimes on these young millennial crews and that, because
somebody needs to yell at them.
People do.
They are getting yelled at a lot. Millennials are always either having too much avocado or not enough avocado, depending on what the stock market indices are saying.
Look, it's the largest generation in all of humankind. It's not millennials. It is this atomistic age where the emphasis, and, as Gary said correctly before, I mean, things looking shit, why wouldn't you sort of like try to ablate your consciousness? But this idea of personal development, self-improvement, if I can be a nice person, the world will improve. Absolutely untrue.
But it
doesn't make fucking sense.
I don't think that they're all like that.
No, neither do I. I'm just sort of talking about the age.
So
epoch.
This probably won't fit in anywhere, but it's a story that I have to tell because
as the bishop said to the actress,
as I am
won't fit in.
Probably the most terminally online person here. I think
you're extremely online.
I'm extremely online. There was a thing that was going around on the internet recently when it turned out that people found out that Trotsky, when he was in the United States, didn't tip. That Trotsky wasn't a big tipper. And people were absolutely fucking up in arms about the fact that Trotsky wasn't a big tipper. And I just think that's
fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
That's fantastic. Well, he deserved that ice pick.
I've remembered the name of Alexis Wright's book. It's called Praiseworthy. It's worth reading, folks. It's a great, great novel. I mean, she's won so many. Try not to swear.
Don't curse
won
on this
so many awards.
Podcast.
She's a great writer. She's head and shoulders above any other Australian writer that I know. So there.
Thanks.
Sorry, Helen. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I did.
But it's also available on audiobook, so that we can listen to it. This is good.
Yeah.
And especially have someone like Jackie Katona reading your book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to know who my official biographer is?
It was fucking me.
It's Ross Float now, isn't it?
He preceded you.
God. Who?
Well, he announced it to the world. I didn't. Tony Birch.
Oh, well, Tony's allowed.
Tony's a gun writer. He's a good historian. That's the main thing that I'm interested in.
All right, break my heart.
And he's a good writer. And I'm not saying you're not.
Oh, I've got shit to do anyway. Better go home and bake.
You're getting...
Off your fuck?
Long before
Off
Tony
you
finishes his book, you're going to have a series of podcasts by me which precedes anything that he does. So you've got nothing to complain about.
I've got Tony's number. Tony and I'll have a little talk.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ross.
Helen.
I'm sorry about the tiff. You're looking happy, you're looking healthy, and you're looking like maybe you're not currently a waged worker.
No, that's correct. I think this life of leisure is, everything about it suits me apart from the lack of money.
Yeah. Wage labour, criminal. All right, off we go. Bye, Gary.
Farewell.